Hello, welcome to this is AgostoAllElite. Welcome to my interview. I'm here to interview you, Jackey Newman Jones. Yeah,
Neyman.
Neiman Jones. Sorry. So,
hmm
so basically, you're the American artist who is best known to play the role of Debbie in Manos, The Hands of Fate.
Yes.
So I got a lot of questions. Let's start. Alright, what was your career like before you started the movies? Like, did you ever do anything in your career before?
Well, I was in that movie when I was 6 years old, and my dad starred in it, and he was also an artist. But I've been an artist my whole life. I've done. I've started my own business 4 or 5 times, different businesses to do with art. But the longest one was for 30 years doing. I worked for clients in their homes, doing uh, painting, special wall treatments like plastering and marbling and murals and all of that. But I also sell my art, and I wrote a book about being in the movie that I was in as a child. Um, because the movie, it was just a very low budget film made in El Paso, Texas, in 1966, and it just disappeared for 27 years, and then a very popular show on television, Mystery Science Theater 3000, found it, and they specialize in showing low budget bad films. And so this film became famous as one of the worst movies ever made. I mean, it's taught in film school as everything not to do in filmmaking. It's it's really bad.
Yeah,
It was supposed to be a horror film, but it was really more of a horrible film.
yeah, yeah. I understand. So you were in Curse of Bigfoot as an extra. Tell me
Yeah,
more about.
another really bad movie.
Can you tell me more
Hmm.
about that?
Well, that was just by chance. My high school theater teacher was friends with a guy from Los Angeles who had started making a film 15 years earlier and then decided he wanted to finish it. And he needed a classroom scene of high school students. So my theater teacher set it up, and the guy came and filmed us in our classroom. But it's just kind of weird that I personally have been in two of the worst films uh, known. I mean, there's a lot of worse films, but these two became popular. And so, I'm a professional artist. My work is good. My dad's work was good. It was just we just happened to be in either the right place or the wrong place at the right time.
Um, that's cool. So, can you tell me a little bit more about your father, Tom Newman?
Tom Neiman, yeah, he was. He had his full time job, but he was very involved in community theater in El Paso, and he usually played the lead roles in the plays that he was in, and and he was a very good artist. He created a lot of art from, um, he just had a very specific style. But I followed in his footsteps because I'm interested in do many of the similar things that he did, as an artist and actor. And
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. So, so when you went to return for the role of Debbie in the 2018 film Manos Return, that the same year you also played Manos in the prequel Manos: The Rise of Torgo.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was because it's just a really interesting community. There have been a lot of projects that have inspired by Manos, the Hands of Fate, and a lot of them are really quite talented. Like there's one called Manos, the Hands of Felt out of Seattle, Washington, and it's actually puppet theater. And there's been some stage productions, but The Rise of Torgo was just one of those things I was asked to do, and I said yes, and it's not a very good film, but then we did Manos Returns, and I'm one of the writers on it, and I starred in it, and I worked with some very talented people, and I'm very proud of that project. And I'm working on a new project now that's really good too. It's a web series, so we're just getting a distributor, and I hope that'll be out soon. That's called the Manos Chronicles.
That's good. Oh, you mean the follow-up TV series, Manos, the Debbie Chronicles?
Yes, that's it. It started off as the Debbie Chronicles, but the name's been changed. But you can see the trailer for the pilot episode on YouTube under the Manos Chronicles.
Yeah, that's good. Mm-hmm. So, in your early life, like, what were your mothers like in your early life?
What was what?
Your mother, was like your early life with your mother?
Oh, my mother was a teacher, but she was also very creative. So, like for instance, in the movie Manos, the Hands of Fate, my dad starred in the film, but he also did all the art and the props, and my mother made the costume. She was a very good seamstress, so I learned a lot from her, and I followed her as well. I create things out of fabric as well as painting and sculpture, like my dad, and I also teach. I teach art classes, so I think I took after both my parents pretty strongly for the things that were their passions.
Right. So, can you tell me about this Harold P. Warren Productions? What was the company productions like?
Well, Harold P. Warren was the guy that wrote, directed, and produced Manos, the Hands of Fate. So it was his project, his idea, and he was in the film as well. But, he made all the decisions. So, the nature of the film rests firmly on him. Unfortunately, the film, like I said, it disappeared for 27 years. So he died in 1985 and it was rediscovered in 1993. So sadly, he never got to see his film come back into the world and become something that people really enjoy.
Yeah, pretty much. So, are your Manos movies going to receive a video game adaptation?
Yes, there's all kinds of things. There's trading cards. There's a couple of video games. There's books. There's coloring books. What else? I mean, there's 4 stage productions. There's just so many. There's so many things that have been inspired by it. But yeah, there is. It's a Nintendo style video game, I believe.
That's good. So, alright. Who played, male teenager Carr? His name was Bernie Rosenblum?
Yeah, Bernie Rosenblum. He was also the assistant cameraman and one of the 2 crew members, but and he was the stunt man as well. So he did all the male stunts, but yeah, he was part of the theater. In fact, all the men in the film were part of that local community theater at the Festival Theater. So they all knew each other. They were all friends, but but Bernie and the cameraman were best friends. So they pulled some pranks on the director, on Harold P. Warren. They left a beer bottle on set, to see if he was paying attention when, things like that. But yeah, Bernie was a jokester. They played a lot of poker together and such.
Yeah, that's very nice. So,
Oh, and the car that he was in, the Triumph Spitfire, was his car, so he was very, very proud to be able to show his car in the movie.
okay, so when you all record sounds for the movie before, how you dub the voices, record them in a sound studio,
Well, the camera they used back in 1966 was actually a Filmo 70. It was a wind-up camera, and it only shot 32 seconds of film at a time, and it shot silent. So the movie had to be dubbed, but only 4 of the men went to the sound studio, and they had to go to Houston, Texas, which is 800 miles from El Paso. So they took a road trip. They did all the male voices, and Hal Warren's sister-in-law, who lived in Houston, came to the studio, and she dubbed all the women's voices and my 6-year-old voice. And I will say that at the premiere, nobody had told the little kid, the 6-year-old, that her voice had been dubbed. So it was a pretty big shock in the theater when my mouth opened on the screen and this middle-aged woman's voice came out. And I could hear the whole audience laughing. So it was, it's funny now, but it was pretty humiliating at the time.
Yeah, pretty much. So in your new series, for the Manos new series, what is it be a sequel, or a continuation of your other movies?
It's like Manos Returns. It's like 2 different possible outcomes. Manos ends with me as the little girl appearing to be the next wife of the master, who already has 6 wives. And so the very end of the movie leaves you wondering what's happened to the little girl. And in Manos Returns, the story is, what if little Debbie had been raised by this cult of strange people, and what would she be like? And in that universe, I grow up and I'm in charge of the place. I become the master. But in the Manos Chronicles, the story is, what if Debbie had escaped the cult as a child and has been in hiding her whole life? So now in this story, I'm looking to do good in the world, to find redemption for other people that have been victimized.
Okay. So that's the sequel's about it. All right then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So when you film in the desert and the sea, how are you able to have water with you if you're in the desert?
Oh, you just adapt. I mean, when you're raised in a place like that, if you go on a hike, you always had, a canteen of water or a bottle of water. So yeah, I mean, it was just a few miles outside of El Paso, but everything had to be taken out there. The food, the water, the lights, everything.
Okay, so basically going forward, what do you hope for this new Manos movie? Will you want to go to Netflix or ended up on HBO Max?
Well, I'm not on the production side of it, so I'm not sure exactly where it is in that process, but I know that the producer's looking for that type of distributor because if we can get signed up with someone like Netflix or HBO, then we'll get the funding to create more episodes.
That's good. You need funding for your episodes. Like you need,
Yes.
yeah. So, do you like pro wrestling?
No, but my ex-husband sure did. And well, as far as wrestling goes, I don't know. Have you ever heard of Gene
Yeah, I
Snitsky?
heard about him.
He, yeah, well, there was another movie that was got partially made, and Gene Snitsky, he was my co-star, so I got to hang out with him and meet him, and I'm only 5'2". He's huge. He's a big, big man. I look like a little kid next to him. And then Ryan Jimmo was one of the world champions with MMA, and he was my other co-star. So I got to hang out with these guys for a week or so. Unfortunately, the film never got finished, but it was a lot of fun. I made some friends, you know.
Yeah. That's good. Okay, so one more question. Like, did you ever thought like it was like a film like almost completely obscure? Like it was like until 1992 when it was featured on the Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yes. Yeah, that was Manos, the Hands of Fate in January 1993. They put it on and it just became an instant hit, and they have an award. They give out awards for their favorite bad movies every year at Thanksgiving time in November, and Manos, the Hands of Fate has been voted a fan favorite 2 or 3 times since then.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, thank you for your time. My interview it will be uploaded on Monday. I just want to let you know. Oh, this is AgostoAllElite podcast. Like, thank you for your interview with me, Miss Jackie.
Yes, thank
Mm-hmm.
you.
Okay, one more thing. Everyone, please go to bonfire.com for our merch. Search AgostoAllElite for to find our merch. Search AgostoAllElite on bonfire.com. All right, thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
See
See you
ya.
later.
I'm back for a quick minute. AgostoAllElite here to deliver a big bombshell, I promise. After the interview, I did promise that. Apparently, there has been confirmation I got from my sources that Tay Milo, Simon Guevara will appear on All Out, and they will have a sex celebration at the pay-per-view live on All Out. It is, folks, it's happening. That is the biggest bombshell I am dropping. Tay Milo and Guevara at All Out in a sex celebration segment. Just watch All Out for it. See you there.